Hello, hello. Okay, well, if YouTube can see me, okay, well, I think we're just going to run with this and I'll have to figure out tech issues during the day. So, okay, today's topic, we're going to talk about ways we are unconsciously blocking our manifestation. Probably every single time we try to manifest something, we're blocking it and we don't even realize that we're doing it. We're canceling out our manifestations before they even have a chance to arrive. And the reason that we're doing this is because it feels like we're being responsible. It feels like wisdom. It feels like self-protection. And it isn't actually any of these things. It's a block. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. What appears to be wisdom is actually a block. Now, let me get really specific with what I'm talking about. We seem to have a very hard time declaring what it is that we want. We have a very difficult time saying, I am a millionaire. I'm going to be famous. I'm going to be wealthy. I'm going to build a business. I'm going to succeed. We have a hard time saying that to other people, but even more importantly, we have a hard time even saying that to ourselves because it sounds like a lie. It sounds like it's too extreme. We have a hard time making these declarations, maybe because we don't want to be disappointed. There's a million different reasons why we have a hard time making these declarations. A lot of times what we're looking for is proof. And this is the block. We're waiting for proof before we will make a statement. So I'm becoming a millionaire. Where's the proof? Where's the proof? There's 28 cents in my account. Where's the proof? I'm a New York Times best-selling author. Well, where's the proof? Where's the evidence? I'm building a life of total financial freedom. Well, prove it. Where's the evidence? And because there is no evidence, in fact, maybe it's not even that there is no evidence that we're moving towards that goal. Sometimes there's the exact opposite. We have we've never owned a business before, or we've never written a book before, or we've never made more than $80,000 a year before. And so not only is there no proof of the new thing, but there's sometimes the quite opposite. And because there's no proof, because the thing that we want hasn't arrived yet, we don't say it. We won't vocalize it. We won't embrace it. Some of us have a hard time even imagining thinking it privately to ourselves. Maybe we might secretly wish for it or daydream for it, but we will not declare it. Because declaring something that isn't real feels false, feels like a lie. It feels dangerous. It feels like we're setting ourselves up for failure. So we wait for proof. But here's the thing, the proof cannot come until actually after we have made the declaration. Okay? The proof cannot come before the declaration, ever. Our statements, our decision is the power of creation. That declaration itself is what makes things happen. It's what puts things in motion in every area of our life. Reality is not built on getting the proof before a decision is made. And that's the part that is stopping you mid-thought from manifesting this. And here's the thing, we already know this to be true, but we haven't applied it to our manifestations. So you're actually doing this every single day. You are declaring something and then it comes true. You are creating an idea, you are creating something, and then it becomes so. What am I talking about? Okay, so I woke up this morning and I brushed my teeth, and then all of the sudden I decided I want breakfast. Before I made that declaration, there was no breakfast in my morning. Sometimes I eat breakfast and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have coffee. Sometimes I actually eat breakfast. There is no breakfast until I declare I'm going to have breakfast this morning. Once it's declared, then the actions go into motion. Then I walk down the stairs, then I go into the kitchen. Maybe I'm very specific. So maybe this morning I was very specific. This morning, not only do I want breakfast, I want scrambled eggs with peppers and onions in it. There is no scrambled eggs with peppers and onions until I decide that that's what I'm going to eat for breakfast. Maybe we only thought about it for a second or two, but as soon as that decision is made, that becomes reality. That comes into existence. You know, what we didn't do, perhaps, figure out the plan first. You know, I don't sit down and think, okay, let me see, I'm gonna have breakfast this morning. How am I going to do that? Good Lord, how do I make breakfast? Okay, I have to walk downstairs, then I have to turn right down the hallway. You see, I don't map out the plan, I declare it, and then breakfast happens. Now, this is a simple because I'm making a point here. We don't demand proof that breakfast exists before we declare that we want breakfast. We just decide, and then reality organizes itself around that decision. Now, let's say, for example, perhaps I went downstairs and maybe I don't have eggs. Maybe I'm out of eggs, and then maybe it just ends up being toast, or maybe it ends up being coffee. But the declaration still came first, because without the declaration, I don't even open the refrigerator. I don't even go into the kitchen to decide whether I'm gonna get something to eat or not. Now, I want you to think about this. Let's say that I want scrambled eggs for breakfast. I go downstairs and maybe there aren't any eggs. Maybe I'm out of eggs. Does that mean that eggs don't exist? Does that mean that deciding to eat breakfast doesn't work? Does it mean that all of a sudden eggs don't exist? Or that I'll never have scrambled eggs for breakfast? No, not at all, not at all. I would take that in stride. And I would just assume that, okay, maybe I'll have eggs for breakfast tomorrow. It's not a big deal. Eggs still exist. Breakfast still exists. Hold on one second. This is live, guys, so sometimes I have a few glitches. That particular glitch happened to be my dogs. So, back to manifesting and doing our declarations. We declare that something's going to happen, and then as it then reality shapes itself around that. And as I said, even if the eggs didn't happen to be there, it doesn't mean that breakfast doesn't work. It just means maybe the timing is a little bit off. Now, going back to the how, because I think this is the other thing that people have a hard time with when they're making the declaration of what they want in the future. So let's say you want to be a New York Times bestseller. Well, we immediately get stuck on the how. And when I use this example of the breakfast, we don't worry about the how when we're declaring something that we're used to, something that we're accustomed to, because the how kind of seems to find its way once we have decided what we want to be done. So what happens when we're doing a bigger manifestation, like being a bestseller or a business owner or whatever, we immediately start going, but I don't know how is that going to happen? I don't know anybody, blah, blah. And we start going through the process before we even decided and started the process of creation. It's the idea and the creation that makes those things start to fall into place. Now, if I'm out of eggs, does that mean I can never have eggs for breakfast even today? Well, no, because actually, if I'm really insistent, I could always run into town and grab some. I could always go eat breakfast at a cafe that has eggs. You see, we don't always know the path, but when the intention is set, it's a done deal. Does that make sense? I'm looking for comments here. If anybody has any comments, pop in, okay? Yes, we're definitely overthinking things here. Now, let's use a different illustration. Let's think about a vacation. Do you book your tickets, make the hotel reservation, find a dog sitter before you decide that you're going on vacation? Absolutely not. You decide where you're gonna go. You say, I want to go to Italy. Maybe you don't have the flights booked. Maybe you don't have the money yet. Maybe you don't know the exact dates or the hotel or the itinerary. Maybe you don't even have the plan of how it's going to happen. You have no idea how it's going to happen. But I guarantee you, you will never get to Italy if you don't decide you're going to Italy. The details and the manifestation of that does not exist yet because you have not made that declaration. And as soon as you decide, this is what I'm going to do, then things start taking place. Okay? Then you look at the flights, then you start saving money, then you tell people you're going, then the details follow the decision. They have to, because details cannot come before the decision happens. That's how it always happens. Creation starts with the idea and the declaration. So I want you to understand, I'm not teaching you something new. This is something that you constantly do anyway. For breakfast, for dinner, for your plans for the weekend, for vacations, for everything that feels low stakes. The moment something starts to feel a little bit more important, something that you actually want, something that could change your life, all of a sudden we freeze and we reverse the whole process and demand the proof first before we've even committed to the declaration of the creation that we want. So I want you to think about that for a second. Breakfast doesn't really matter. Maybe even the vacation doesn't really matter. And for some reason, we follow the specific exact process when it's not quite as controversial. As soon as something matters, we want the evidence first. Okay? So here's the neuroscience of what's happening. Your subconscious mind runs a risk assessment on declarations that you're about to make. So when it's a low stake declaration like breakfast, the risk assessment kind of, it's like it comes back clean. if the eggs aren't there, you'll have something else. It's not a catastrophe. Nobody's going to die. And your nervous system stays calm. And that's why we can make those declarations easily, and then they happen easily. But when it comes to something that's a little bit more high stake, like becoming a millionaire or having a life of freedom, I'm the person that figures things out. The risk assessment can trigger something different because this feels like it's a little bit more of our identity level. And an identity level declarations carry identity level risk. So if you declare I'm having eggs for breakfast and there's no eggs, you're mildly inconvenienced. But if you declare I'm becoming a millionaire and it doesn't happen on the timeline you imagined, all of a sudden your subconscious mind treats that as proof that manifestation doesn't work and you're an idiot. You're delusional, you're naive. And so it blocks the declaration before it even leaves your mouth. And you stay in this safe zone of I wish, I hope, and maybe someday, none of which are declarations of creation, none of which the universe can even respond to because that's not how energy works. The block isn't doubt about whether something is possible. The block is actually self-protection from feeling foolish or disappointed. It's the self-protection is actually costing you everything that you want. So let's talk about the fear directly, because I think this is where most people get stuck. Even if they understand the concept, they think, okay, I'll declare it. I want to be a millionaire. But what if it doesn't come? What if I say I'm becoming a millionaire and I'm not a millionaire in a year? Does that mean that the declaration failed? Does that mean I was wrong? Does that mean I'm not worthy? No. And here's why. When you decided that you wanted scrambled eggs this morning and there's no eggs in the fridge, did you come to the conclusion that eggs don't exist? Did you decide that breakfast doesn't work as a concept? Did you spend the rest of your day feeling like an idiot because you wanted eggs? Of course not. You adjusted. Maybe you had something else. Maybe you do that tomorrow. Maybe you went out and got the eggs. The declaration itself was still valid. It was the timing that was different. Think about a different kind of meal that you want. Maybe something you have to go out of your way for. Maybe lobster, something that requires a very specific restaurant or a specific trip to get something that you don't typically have. Perhaps you don't get it the instant that you want it. You might have to wait, you might have to plan, you might have to go somewhere. But does that mean it doesn't exist? Does the delay prove that the declaration was wrong? Or does it just mean that some things take longer to arrive than scrambled eggs? Some manifestations are scrambled eggs. They arrive quickly because the ingredients are already close. And some manifestations are a lobster meal that requires a little bit more orchestration, a little bit more timing, and there's maybe some more moving parts. Neither proves that the declaration was wrong. They just have different delivery and timelines. Here's another frame that I want you to carry with after this video. When you order something online, let's say you're going to buy something on Amazon, you place the order with complete confidence. You don't call the warehouse to verify that the item exists before you click to buy it. You don't demand a detailed explanation of which delivery truck is going to deliver it and what route and who's the driver. You don't need to know the how. You place the order and you trust the system. Okay, so what if it's delayed? Let's say your order gets delayed. Okay, so instead of getting it on Tuesday, you get it on Friday? Are we doubting that the system works? No, we understand that sometimes there's a delay. What if it gets lost? What if your order gets lost? Well, we figure it out. We call, we get a refund, we replace the order. What if a better version comes along while we're waiting? Maybe we upgrade the order. But at no point do we ever conclude that the concept of online shopping is broken because our package didn't get here on Tuesday and we didn't know how it was going to get there. The declaration, the purchase is our order, that, and then we let the system do its job. So your job is to be specific about what you want, place the order with confidence, and not to just cancel it because the delivery takes longer than you expected. See, people are maybe we're even trying to manifest. Maybe we're even saying placing an order with the universe, and then we cancel it because there's no tracking order. And then we wonder why nothing ever arrives and we assume that everything's broken, but we're the ones that are canceling the order by our own withdrawal of what we're declaring. Okay, keep comments coming because I want to know what you guys think about this. Now, some people are so terrified of placing the wrong order that they never place anything specific at all. So this would be like going to a restaurant and saying, I don't know, bring me whatever. And then they wonder why what shows up, what's going to show up. If you go to the restaurant and you just say, I don't know what I want. The possibilities are endless. You could get a glass of water, you could get breadsticks, you could get an old hamburger. I mean, who knows what you're going to get because you didn't order anything. Okay? We are often doing this. We're not clear with what we want. And then what ends up showing? Random jobs, random partners, random weirdnesses, and we're still coming to this conclusion that manifesting doesn't work, but it's always because we have not initiated the act of creation with our thoughts and with our declarations. This isn't just manifestation law. This is how reality works. Whether it's the breakfast table or at the restaurant or any other place in our lives. Now, I want to keep using this analogy because I think it really helps us understand how manifestation works. I think some people are afraid to declare what they want because what if they don't really want it? Okay, so let's say I'm going to have lasagna for dinner. All right. Does that mean I have to have lasagna for dinner? Does that mean I'm forced to eat lasagna for dinner? So let's compare that to you're going to be a New York Times bestseller. Okay. Does that mean you have to be a New York Times bestseller? Does that mean that, halfway into the course, you got the book half written and you decide, I absolutely hate this, that you're stuck on the course because you manifested it? Absolutely not. I can decide, I can declare that I'm going to have lasagna for dinner tomorrow. And, maybe I change my mind. Maybe I decide that actually, you know what, I don't really feel like lasagna after all. I think I'll go for pizza. You see, just because we declare something doesn't mean that we're stuck to the outcome. We still have the power of creation and the power of choice. So if that arrives, or before it arrives, if we decide that there's a deviation that we want, we still have that ability. But nothing is going to happen unless you make that declaration first. The block that you've been waiting for, the proof before you make the declaration, the proof will not ever come before the declaration. It never has in any area of your life. You declare what you want for breakfast before the breakfast even exists. You book the vacation, you decide that you're taking the vacation before you book the vacation, before you have all the answers. You place the order before the package arrives. So start doing this when it matters, specifically, without waiting for proof, without needing to know the whole path and the whole thing, without canceling the order every time the delivery takes longer than you expected. Now, let's talk about that again. I want to go out. So, oftentimes, we're talking about the risk factor here. The risk for wanting scrambled eggs and not getting it versus the risk of wanting to be a millionaire and not getting it. Our attachment to the outcome is also part of the problem. We have to also, there's this component when we're manifesting where you realize that the truth is you are declaring things are in motion, you've placed the order, and whether it's early or whether it's late or whether you change your mind, you're still okay either way. There's a place of peace versus desperation. As we're working with manifesting, our energy is the magnet. Our declaration and then our energy is the magnet. So as we're declaring something, if we start feeling this anxious feeling of, oh my goodness, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, we're too attached to disaster, catastrophe, horribleness if it doesn't happen. And if it doesn't happen, is a declaration that counteracts the previous declaration. So now we've sent out two declarations to the universe. We've sent out the declaration, I want this, and then we've sent out the declaration, but I'm seeing catastrophe, I'm seeing this, I'm seeing this, okay? So if I declare that I want scrambled eggs for breakfast, and I come downstairs and there are no scrambled eggs, it is absolutely not the end of the world. I'll be fine. I'll eat some toast and I'll have scrambled eggs tomorrow. or next week or whatever. But the truth is, I'm not going to die. I'm going to be perfectly fine. But I still make that declaration. When it comes to our big things that we're deciding, I want to be a New York Times bestseller. Am I going to die if that doesn't happen? Absolutely not. The truth is, I'm fine. You're fine. You want to be a millionaire, you want to be retired, you want to travel the world, make that declaration. Make that declaration knowing that it's that releasing feeling, it's that peace that you feel when you know, yes, I am declaring this, whether it comes on time or whether it's late, or even if it doesn't, I'm going to be totally fine. And you feel that sense of peace. That's what allows the magic to happen. What is the fear? What are we afraid of? Fear of disappointment? Okay, well, you're not gonna have, if you don't declare it, you don't get it. If you don't get it, you don't have it now. So what are you, where's the disappointment? You don't have it now. So if you don't have it then, isn't that the same as not having it now? We sometimes get so attached to the outcome that it's gonna feel like devastation if for some reason it doesn't come. And that sense of devastation actually creates and causes more devastation, causes the devastation that we're afraid of. We end up manifesting whatever it is that we're feeling, and if we're feeling that fear, that's what we end up creating. Okay, so let me check the comments here because this is your part. This is where you guys are supposed to jump in. Okay, so I've got something in here that says it takes time for the universe to bring these things about, correct? Okay, yes and no. Yes and no. The truth is you could manifest $1 million tomorrow. That's the truth. Your life can change in a heartbeat. Uh, last week, a week and a half ago, I I'm growing my online presence. I literally went from 58 followers on Facebook to 15,000. Things can happen overnight. You can manifest something overnight. So why don't you? Well, most of the time it's your beliefs. Most of the time we're the problem, even there. So if I decide I'm going to manifest $5, your nervous system, again, that nervous system feels like, yeah, phew, $5, yeah, I could do that, no big deal. Okay, can you do $100? Your nervous system is probably like, yeah, yeah, I could probably do that. Okay, how about $1,000? Yep, your nervous system is like, okay, okay, yeah, okay. $10,000, your nervous system starts going, I'm not sure about that one. Okay, is that the universe's problem or is that your problem? That is your problem because you are the magnet. And as soon as that magnet inside of you starts twisting from confidence, expecting, knowing, safety to, ooh, I don't know, this is risky, what if it doesn't happen? That's the reason why it takes time. Not because it takes time, it's because you take time. It's because your belief systems think that if it's too easy, it's not worth it, it's not real, or, it takes money to make money. If we have not purged ourselves of those beliefs, that is why it takes time, not because the universe takes time. The universe doesn't care. Millionaires are made overnight all the time. Why are you not a millionaire overnight? It's almost 100% because the energy that you feel when you say that doesn't feel safe. You're doubting. We're doubting that. That's why a lot of times when I'm coaching with somebody, sometimes we start small. Instead of manifesting $1 million, we're going to manifest 10,000. Or instead of in a year, we're going to do it in a year and a half. Or we're changing the timelines until the feeling feels safe. Okay. So if $10,000 in 1 week, I've had people that are like, absolutely, that feels fine. And they do it. And then I'll have other people that say, yeah, you know what? I think I need 45 days for that. But their face looks like this. And so I'll say, okay, how about 60 days? And they'll go, oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, that feels better. Okay, so now their energy is in alignment with what they're asking for. And that is more likely to that is going to work. Now, I will also say, now this is going to get into the super scientific part. Okay, I'm going to go there anyway. We are condensing matter. We are collapsing. Hi, one. We are collapsing matter into reality. So the bigger of a thing that we're asking for, the more focus and clarity it will take. Not necessarily time per se, but we are collapsing matter into this reality. The bigger a thing that we're asking for, the more moving parts there are, the more focus it takes. To manifest $100 might take, 5 minutes of meditation once or twice a day, and then that's it, you've got it. But if you're doing something like creating a business from scratch, you're doing something big, you're manifesting $1 million, there's a lot more moving parts to that, and it's going to take a lot more concentration. So, 5 minutes a day to create something big like that? Probably not. It's probably going to take more of your focus, more of your magnetism to make that happen. Does that make sense? Did that answer that question? Okay, somebody says it took 2 years for their first manifestation experience to pan out, and it was something small. Okay, so I want you to focus on how much did you focus on that, and how much of it was positive energy versus how much was doubt. Because sometimes what happens is we go through spurts where we will go, okay, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then life gets in the way and we forget about it for a month or two or three. And then we're like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I want this, I want this, I want this. And then we forget about it. So it's almost like we're building a house, but we run out of funds. So maybe we do 3 layers of bricks and then we go and we get some more money and a month or two comes by and then we do 3 more layers of bricks. So we're the ones that often drag it out because we don't have the laser focus. So the laser focus is one thing. Um, like I said, sometimes we go through these spurts where we focus on what we want and then we let it go. And we focus what we want and then we let it go. But sometimes we're doing something that's even a little bit more damaging. That we focus on what we want. There you go. See, exactly. So you were terrified because it felt like witchcraft. Exactly, my darling. It does feel like witchcraft. But it's science. This is how energy works. And so those were the breaks. You were feeling the breaks. So that's exactly what we'll do. We'll say, okay, I want $1 million. I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. We focus on it. We meditate on it. And it feels really good. And then we go downstairs to make scrambled breakfast, and our brain starts going, I don't know if we deserve that. I don't know. This might be bullshit. This might be a waste of time. I'm a loser. I've never done this before. This is going to fail. Okay. We just sent the universe two different signals. We said yes, and then we said no. Which one had the louder volume? I can almost guarantee you that I'm a loser, I don't deserve this, this isn't going to work, is probably a louder volume. So even though you did the right thing, if you're putting the brakes on and your body and your nervous system is screaming, I am not congruent with this, I don't know, I can't handle this, I don't, bleh, you're sabotaging yourself. And that's another reason why the manifestations can take a longer time. It's never the universe's fault. It's never science's fault. It's never energy's fault. It's because we are a basket case and we're all over the place with what we want. That is okay. So going back to the laser focus, you know, if I go downstairs and I'm very specific that I want scrambled eggs for breakfast, I'm going to get scrambled eggs for breakfast. But if I go downstairs thinking that I want scrambled breakfast, and then I open the fridge and there's maple syrup in there, so you know what? Waffles really sounds pretty good. And then all of a sudden now I'm thinking about waffles. And then, I don't know, there's some pork chops in there. So I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe some fried pork chops would be a really good idea. What the heck's happening for breakfast? I don't know. The universe doesn't know. Nothing's magically making itself. So we're doing that sometimes. I'm going to do this online business and then, no, I'm going to be a dog watcher. No, I'm going to go write a book. We're all over the place. So how are we going to manifest anything if we're not crystal clear on exactly what we want? That crystal clear is crucial to creating what you want. That is the statement of creation. It's literally like making sure that you order something at the restaurant. I'm telling you, you go into the restaurant and you say, I don't know what I want, or, bring me whatever. And then you wonder why your life is a hodgepodge of something that you didn't create. It's because you didn't create it. You just were accepting of whatever ended up happening. Now, this is not your fault. I don't want anybody to start feeling like they did something wrong. You were not born with an owner's manual. Your parents were not born with owner's manuals. You're learning the owner's manual now. And there are nuances to this. I know there's tons of people that talk about manifestation and it's all visualization and feel good and focus, but there's nuances that are important to learn, and that's what I really love digging into, is why didn't it work? Not why does it work, not how does it work, but what's the reason why it failed? Sometimes our identity is one, our values are one. Here's a big one. Values, our values. So let's say that somebody is wanting to manifest $1 million and you believe it's possible and you believe you're worthy. But what if there's something in your value system that says, "Eek, every person I meet that's wealthy is a corrupt crook, or the only way that you can make money is if you cheat and steal and you're dishonest." Okay, so how are you ever going to make $1 million if it so very clearly is a moral weakness to you? If it's contrary to what you believe is good as a human being? Okay, so I have another question here. I'm trying to understand detachment. I've heard to visualize and normalize what I want, but I also hear to have elevated emotion, which is correct. Both are correct. Both are absolutely correct. So I want you to imagine this. Do this with me, okay? I want you to imagine, I'm going to say lobster, but maybe people don't like lobster. Let's say, what is something everybody likes? Steak, and hope that there's no vegetarians in here. I really want steak. So I want you to think of prime rib. I want you to think of this gorgeous prime rib steak that is just absolutely juicy. It's cooked to perfection. Your favorite sides are there. Maybe it's some garlic roasted potatoes or some asparagus. Oof, and I just want you to imagine maybe there's some horseradish cream sauce, and I just want you to imagine that you're slicing into it. Oh my gosh, it's so delicious. You can just feel it. Feel it. Oh my gosh, I love steak. I really, really love steak. I can't wait to have steak. I can't wait to have steak. Oh my gosh, I guess. Gosh. Okay. You know what? I am totally fine today. I'm totally fine. I don't know when I'm going to get the steak. I'd like to have the steak over the weekend, but if it doesn't happen this weekend, then the truth is it can happen next weekend, and I'm totally fine. I'm not starving to death. I love the steak. I'm excited for the steak. I can feel the juiciness of this steak. But the truth is, I'm totally fine with or without a steak. I'm happy. I have a roof over my head. I have scrambled eggs. The truth is that I don't need the steak. I want the steak. I'm salivating for the steak. I love steak. But I don't need anything because the truth is, it's not life or death. Nothing is life or death. Okay? Can you feel the difference there between visualizing, normalizing, wanting what you want, but at the same time, knowing that you're totally okay? That whether the state comes or not, your family still loves you, you still are alive, you still have a roof over your head, and the truth is that everything is okay, with or without it. And you know what? Maybe I don't end up with a steak. Maybe I end up with a lobster. And that's totally okay too. That's totally, maybe I end up with both. Maybe I end up with steak and lobster. But whether I end up with steak and lobster at the same time, so much that I can't even eat it all, especially if it's got the butter on it and I got that nice lemon that's all over that beautiful lobster. You know what? I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm totally fine. Does that answer your question? Can you see how that works? The detachment means that we can have something. In fact, we can have anything that we want. You can have $1 million, you can have $10 million, you can have a castle in Italy, you can have anything that you want, but you don't need anything. Need is a killer. Whenever you need something, it's in the family of desperation. And desperation is going to create more desperation. I want you to understand we are manifesting everything all the time anyway, positive and negative, whether we realize it or not. We are nothing but magnets. And what you feel, you attract. What you feel, you create. So when you feel need and you feel desperation, first of all, we're more likely to repel it. Even if we do end up getting, we're going to have a lot of anxiety in between. Peace is the goal. So here's how we start stepping into that. Okay, so what is the emotion that what you're wanting to manifest will create? Let's say, okay, let's go back to the money. So why do you want $1 million? Why do you want $1 million? Oh, because you want to travel and you don't want to have to worry about bills and you want to be able to, whatever. You want a brand new car. Okay. Is that really why you want $1 million? Because I would question that. I would say that the real reason somebody wants $1 million is because they want to have safety and security and peace and freedom, and they're assuming that the money is what's going to give them those feelings. Okay, so if let's take freedom. Let's say that $1 million is going to give you freedom. Then you're not attracting $1 million. You're attracting freedom. Freedom is what you really want. And the only way that you can attract freedom is if you let yourself start noticing freedom now. We have been trained to think that it's the outside circumstances that create how we feel, and that is backwards. That is backwards. We decide how we feel, and then the universe and reality starts changing to meld and morph around that. So we have, in order to attract freedom, then we have to start feeling freedom first. How do you feel free now? What is one teeny tiny way that you feel free? Well, you know what? I can move my arms. I can breathe freely. I can drive my car freely. I can walk outside freely. Okay, so you focus on that teeny feeling, and that's what starts attracting that to you. Now all of a sudden you don't need the $1 million because you're already free. And then funny enough, somehow that $1 million ends up coming to you because you've already felt the root that it was attached to. Does that make sense? I don't want to obsess. Exactly. Exactly. The obsession actually ends up pushing things away. So, have you ever been in a swimming pool where you had those little floaty noodle things in the pool? And you know how as soon as you like swim closer to the floaty, every time you swim closer to the floaty goes farther away? That's what obsession does. The more we obsess with something, the more we end up pushing it farther and farther away. So detachment is really the secret. Detachment is, yes, I want this. Yes, I deserve this. I can see it. I can feel it. I want it. I believe in it. It's coming. It's fine. And at the same time, I am totally okay in between now and then. All right, so in this money example, let's assume that you have 28 cents in your bank account, and that doesn't feel okay, or should it? So I would then ask, how does the stress work for you? How's that feel? Does it put more money in your account? You know, maybe the reason that we're feeling so much, the reason we have the lower bank account is because we're stressing about it so much. How often do you just kind of let go and you just go, whatever, I give up, and then it happens, and then it clicks. I have had that happen to so many people so many times, it's not even funny. I had a friend recently, we were trying to order something from the States, because I'm here in Ecuador. And so we were trying to order something, and it was absolutely obsessed with wanting this. I need this. I need this. So we checked the order, and the order kept getting canceled, and like the credit card was getting declined. And I'm like, I don't understand what the heck is happening. It was taking months, and we're like, is this a supply issue? And he was so worried, and he was so worried. I swear to you, within hours of him saying, you know what, I give up. If it shows up, it shows up. If we get it, fine. If we don't, whatever. We get the confirmation that it's already arrived in the country and we're about to get the delivery. I'm not even kidding you. This this letting it go, this saying, you know what? Yes, I want this. Yes, I deserve this, and I am totally okay. All right, what if you only have the 28 cents in your bank account? Well, the truth is, actually, you know what? You're still okay. You're still okay. You're not gonna die. It might suck, but you're okay. You're okay. You know, very few people die in our day and age of an instant death because of financial issues. Does it suck a little bit? Yes. But you know, there's probably a couch you can crash on. You know, there's public assistance in a lot of places. You know, does it suck? Yes. But are you okay? Yeah, probably. Probably. So you can feel stressed about something or you can feel okay about something. It doesn't always change the circumstances in that instant, but you feel better. One of my most favorite things to say is I can laugh or I can cry. I can't always change the instant circumstances. You know, my circumstances might be the same, but laughing makes it a whole lot better. You know, the brakes go out in my car. Laughing doesn't mean I go downstairs and there's brakes in my car right away, but it does mean that I'm navigating these situations in a more resourceful way, in a way that's helpful for my own body, for my own chemistry. Okay, so what other questions? What other questions? Did that answer the detachment question? Okay, hold on just one second, guys. Okay, so if anybody wants to come on and do some live questions, there's the link. Okay, what else? What other questions do we have about this topic? How about specifically any questions about this topic of declaring and statements of creation before we have the proof? What do you guys think about that? Are there any specific questions about how that works? Because this is a big block that I have a lot of people talk about. Not being able to state what they want before they have the proof and the evidence that it's possible. Do I have any questions about that? Come on, guys. Okay, so if I don't have any other questions, I'm gonna wrap this up. Hi, Monica. What other questions? What questions do you have? You got me here, guys. You got my time. Give me something. Give me something. I'm gonna give you guys a couple minutes to come up with something. I'm gonna give you a couple minutes to think. Okay, we've got two things here. What about wanting something for a family member and believing before I see it? Okay, let's talk about wanting something for a family member. Okay, so let me make up some examples here. Unless you want to share an example specifically, I'm just gonna make something up. Hi, sweetie.
Hi,
Can you hear
can
me?
you hear me okay? Mm,
You're muted.
Is that any better? Can you hear me any better?
I can't hear
You
you.
can't hear me? Oh, I have no idea.
So you're unmuted on my side. Okay. I don't think the audio is on my side. I think the audio is on your side, Trina. Okay, so I'm going to go with Monica here for a second. Wanting something for a family member, how do you manifest wanting them to see opportunities? Well, you might not like this answer so much, but the truth is, everybody has free will. So we can want something for somebody else, but what if they don't want it for themselves? The beauty of this is that everyone is a creation and a creator themselves. They get to manifest the life that they want for themselves. So I will tell you in my own experience, I am not the person that my family wishes that I was. I am not what they wanted for me. They had a very clear path for me. They had a very clear path in the religion. They had a very opinionated opinion of what they wanted for me. And that was not my path. I had to choose my own path. I had a client once, she was about 28 years old, and she was just about ready to graduate from medical school. She'd gone all the way through to medical school, and at the end, she was just like, I hate this. I did this because my dad's a doctor and my mom's a nurse, and I did this career because this is what my family wanted for me to do. And that was not her path. It is very difficult for us to know what is best for another person. So what you might assume is the best for somebody else, and you know what? Your intentions are awesome. Your love is absolutely why we want something best for somebody else, but they have the free will to choose to make their own mistakes, to create their own reality, even if that reality doesn't coincide with what we think is best for them. I have known people in my personal life that were alcoholics. You know, I'm going to go with this alcoholic thing for a second. I wanted them to see that there was a better way. I wanted them to see that, they don't need to drown themselves in alcohol, that there's other ways to be happy, that there's other ways to enjoy the weekend without it including 4 bottles of alcohol. And you know what? It is not my job to force that on somebody else. If somebody else chooses even the wrong path, that is their right. They get to do that. We don't have the ability to create somebody else's future for them. And I know that's difficult. I know that's difficult. It's difficult to see somebody and go, dang, you're totally wasting this opportunity, or man, you're so smart, you should be doing this, or, why aren't you doing this? Or you have this talent, they just want to sit there with their thumb up their nose and do their own thing. But that's the beauty of life, is that people do get to do their own thing, even if it's not something that we necessarily agree with. The other thing is that it takes intent. It takes strength. It takes wisdom sometimes to embrace a specific outcome. And some people aren't ready for that. The work that I do, I don't think a 20-year-old could do. Not that they couldn't, but maybe their wisdom's not there, maybe their focus isn't there, maybe they have other distractions. So when we see an opportunity for somebody else and they're not seeing it, they're not feeling it, maybe they're not ready for it. And so and why do we want somebody to feel or embrace a certain opportunity? Maybe the reason what we really want for them is we want them to be happy. So maybe that's the focus that we have is wanting them to be happy. Manifesting happiness for them is probably better than a very specific outcome. Okay, so then Trina has a question about the subconscious. Can you type your question is, Trina? Trina has a question about the subconscious. Did that answer your question, Monica? Manifesting a specific baby gender. Ooh, this one's got me on my toes. Manifesting a specific baby gender. Let me think about that. I'm gonna have to think about that one. I don't know if that's possible. That might also come into the category of wishing something on someone that is against their will. You want a boy or a girl or whatever, and what if that is not who they are? You know, personally, my own personal beliefs, I'm kind of voting for, reincarnation or something like that. And, maybe a person comes down here and they choose a very specific gender because they have a very specific goal in mind. And maybe there are certain things, I think specifically manifestation when it comes to controlling another being, I would say that that might be an abuse of power even. Um, we are all sovereign. We all have the ability to create what we want. And forcing that ability to alter another human being might very possibly be a violation of their sovereignty, right? You're super disappointed that your baby was a boy, but now your baby boy is everything. You know what? I do understand this too. I do understand this. But you also want your children to be everything that they're meant to be. Everything that is good and happy and whole and beautiful for them. Now, our intentions are often very well meant when it comes to manifesting for somebody else, whether it's but, I think the best and truest intent of manifesting is when we do the highest good for all. Now, these laws are going to work regardless of whether your intent is pure or not. I think there are plenty of powerful, wealthy people who are manifesting and their intentions are not necessarily pure. I would like for us to elevate and be at a different level of manifesting for the greater good, of manifesting for everyone, of manifesting so that everyone is happy. You know, I think that's the most important thing. In my line of work, I wish I could manifest happiness for everyone. I wish I could manifest health for everyone. And the truth is, that's not my responsibility. I had somebody recently say they're all amazed at my property in Ecuador and how amazing it is. And they said, can you manifest that for me? How about manifest that same price and that same property? Manifest it for me. They were kind of joking and they were kind of not joking. Um, I manifested that because my energy and everything was all completely in harmony with what I was asking for. The energy of the recipient has to be in harmony, even for the good or the bad, because like I said, we do manifest negative things too. And when a person manifests something negative, it's because their beliefs are in alignment with that, or etc. So I don't know how you can manifest happiness and joy for somebody who insists that they're an alcoholic. How do you have manifest health and joy for somebody that's suffering for depression. What they, if you're going to manifest that for them, then maybe what you really need to do is make sure that they learn the power of their mind so that they can manifest it for themselves. Okay, so Trina says, can I make my subconscious remember the Spanish I took years ago? I absolutely believe so. I absolutely believe that everything is already inside of our mind. I don't know if you've ever heard of maybe some of these crazy stories where somebody gets a head injury and they wake up and they speak French. I think our mind has an amazing ability, and I think unlocking those abilities is part of, maybe we can call it manifesting, maybe we're just going to call it the power of the mind. Okay, guys, this was amazing. This was fun. I love the spontaneous questions. It absolutely keeps me on my toes. So have your questions prepared for next week, and we will be back at the same time, Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. This was a blast. I'm gonna give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in case anybody wants to try to jump on again or one more question. You got 2 minutes, no pressure. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this up, guys. This was a blast. Have your questions ready for next week, and I will see you next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.